All right, everyone, let's return to this next section. And I want to create the rest of this enclosed region that I'm going to need. And I'm going to use a little bit of a different technique other than just drawing all the way around. So I'm going to start by creating a center line. This center line is SolidWorks' secret code for SolidWorks to ignore this line because it's a center line style when it is trying to calculate what to do inside of a 3D feature. So I'm going to use this as a mirror blade and mirror some of this other geometry to the other side of the part, and I will use this as my object that I want to mirror some other pieces around. And by drawing in a center line, I never have to delete it. I can just leave it as think about it as a construction line. So I'm going to select, and by the way, I press and hold Control and continue selecting. And so I have all of these lines selected. I'm now going to select my mirror command, click into this box that tells SolidWorks what is the line that I want to use as my mirroring blade. Select the center line. I get a yellow preview. I'll say, yes, that is what I want. And I need to simply then draw in this last line. And I can see that I get a gray preview. That's SolidWorks' feedback to me that mathematically there is an enclosed region, something that I should be able to expect to be able to extrude once I exit this sketch. Got a couple artifacts in here that I did off camera. And so I believe that when I exit this sketch and I make an attempt to extrude this bracket 2 inches high, I'm going to get an error. But I'm going to go ahead and do this anyway and then come back into this sketch and kind of highlight some of the sketching issues that create 3D feature errors. So I'm going to exit the sketch. I always tend to rotate my view so that I'm looking at something off axis, not purely orthographic, so that I can see all three dimensions or all three axes. So over in my history tree, I'm going to select Sketch 2, letting SolidWorks know that's what I want to work on. And here's what I want to do to Sketch 2. So select Sketch 2, extrude base or boss. And if this was going to be successful, I should see a yellow or golden preview coming up 0.1 inches. And I see no preview. That's SolidWorks' feedback to me that there's some kind of problem with the sketch that I'm not able to overcome. So I can't complete this command. I'm going to exit, right-click on the sketch, and now this top left icon is the command that says I want to edit my first existing sketch. So I'll use this edit sketch. I'm back now editing. If I zoom on the left end, remember the first line we drew was from the origin out to the outside. And SolidWorks doesn't know what to do with this line, right? It's in the enclosed region. It's trying to the software is trying to figure out how does it extrude this shape and how does it include that line in the extruded shape. I select it and delete it, and I'm still going to have an error because I started here, went out to the edge, and back 1 inch. I have two lines on top of each other. SolidWorks can't deal with that level of complexity either. It doesn't know what to do with this short 1 inch line relative to all the other lines. So I'm going to use a window selection, delete that little piece, And notice my gray preview is still there. So just as a heads up, it can be a bit of a challenge to debug sketches when we're not sure what the error is. So I'm going to go ahead and exit this sketch, select Sketch 2, extrude this boss, and I get that yellow preview that I was talking about. So here I want this to be 2 inches tall. And we have a good start on that bracket that we need to draw. So the next step that we're going to do is put a hole into this left side, and then we need to put a hole into the right side. In fact, I think what I will do is part of a demonstration is I'm going to put both holes into the same sketch. So our first sketch we chose to draw on the front plane. I could choose to draw my holes on this what's called top plane. I also can select an existing surface. I then right click and I can say that I want to start a new sketch drawing on the plane that this surface represents. So that's what I'm going to execute. Start a new sketch. Here's my sketch origin. I see my sketch icons. And I'm going to put this circle in that I want to be a hole. And to start with, it's a 0.85 inch diameter. So I'm going to put that in. And I want it to be 1 inch in from the center of this bracket. So I just clicked out in space to get rid of that blue. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw what's called a reference line from the midpoint of this edge over. And to get a line as instead of an edge, I have this option that says convert an existing 3D edge into a line that's in my sketch. So I'm going to execute this command and select this near edge. I'll click the green check mark, and hopefully on the screen here you can see that that edge has changed a little bit. It's dark black. There's actually now a line in the sketch. We'll talk about these later, but I'm going to delete this little green box, and I'm going to draw a center line. I'm going to make sure here in Solidworks I get a snap to the center of this line, and I'm going to come left and enter my length of 1 inch. So now I know the hole that I want is going to be right at the end point of that line. I'll draw a circle, and I want the diameter of that circle to be 0.85, so I can enter 0.85 divided by 2. Because I really need to, SolidWorks is asking me for the radius. That's the correct size. And let's work on the other hole as well. It's 1 inch from the right. I'm going to suggest that we want to think about a workflow where we reuse geometry. So I'm going to select this circle and use a copy command. And I'm going to tell SolidWorks here that I want to copy it a specific dimension in X and Y. So X is my short arrow. I can see that X is here. So I want to copy this thing to the left. So I'm going to copy a value. And again, here is just a great example of full calculator. I want it to go left, so I'm going to put a minus sign, and I've got to do some math in here, so I'm going to use parentheses. I want to go left 5.7 inches minus 1 inch minus 1 inch on the left. Close my parentheses, and that's the location of the hole on the left. The size now is incorrect, So I hit escape a couple times, and here, after it's already drawn, I can change the radius. I want my through hole to be a diameter 0.65. I enter 0.65 divided by 2. It just saves me having to think through that math in my head. And the hole gets a little bit smaller, and I'm going to exit this sketch. And before I do, I think I need to change this last line away from solid to a type that is this centerline style. Once I've created an object, I can change it to centerline style by checking this box that says for construction. I do that, press the green check mark, and now if I zoom in, yeah, I just can't see it on my screen. You probably can't see it in the recording, that's for sure. But it is a midline or centerline style. So I will exit my sketch. Notice this sketch is out in the middle of the air. It's on this surface. So everything that I drew is on this outside edge surface. So I'm selecting sketch 3. I want to take geometry away. So this is the area that I'm going to be using. I will cut or extrude cut. And notice this yellow preview goes all the way through the part. I'm happy with that. I could just click the green check, but I'd like to highlight that I have options here. And in here, I can tell Solidworks that I want to extrude this cut through all of the part. And notice what happened is the yellow preview now stops at this back edge. Well, that's as far as the part goes, so that's as far as the extruded cut goes. I click my green check mark, and I now have that bracket with holes in it. And we've got 2 more steps to take to finish our geometry. And I'll close this section and we'll finish this part up in the next section of videos. Hope this is helpful, and we'll see you in the next section.